Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over a college football game preview and prediction on one of the big matchups coming up in the Big Ten in Week 11 of this 2020 season. And that's going to be between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And both these teams got big wins last week. Of course, both teams started off 0-2, and both teams are now 1-2. But of course, this is going to be a very important game for both these teams moving forward and seeing who's going to possibly win the Big Ten West this season. So obviously the winner here definitely still has a shot to win the division, but the loser, on the other hand, is going to have their chances of winning it heavily decreased. So it's going to be a very important game for both these teams moving forward. And we'll be going over a full preview and prediction on this game here today, starting out with your team trends. Last game, Iowa beat Michigan State 49-7. That was a huge blowout win for Iowa. Obviously, they had a rough start. They started off 0-2 with two pretty bad losses. Of course, they lost to Northwestern, and then I believe they lost to Purdue as well. So Iowa really hasn't had that good of a start. But after beating Michigan State in the fashion that they did, it's pretty impressive what they did. We also saw Minnesota beat Illinois. 41-14 was the final score there. Illinois did not even stand a chance. Minnesota got off to a fast start and kept going from there. So both teams had big blowout wins last week. And once again, both teams, it looks like, are on the right track to have a good season. Your winning streaks for both these teams. Iowa currently has a one-game winning streak. Same thing with Minnesota. Both teams are also 1-2 heading into this matchup. This game's going to be on Friday, November 13th, so it will be on a Friday instead of a Saturday. 7 p.m. Eastern will be the kickoff time in Minneapolis, so the Golden Gophers will be your home team. Her spread currently says Iowa by 3. ESPN FPI's got Iowa 64%. Then the Vegas prediction has got Minnesota by a tenth of a point. And obviously, that's probably going to change over the next couple of days. There's a chance we do see Iowa lead that Vegas prediction, but it's currently going with Minnesota here by a tenth of a point, 23.3 to 23.2. So that's as close as it gets for the Vegas prediction right now. And yeah, it's pretty reasonable as well. I mean, both these teams are extremely evenly matched, I would say. I mean, both teams have the same record. Both teams pretty much have the same momentum. And honestly, both teams have gotten off to pretty similar starts. So yeah, I'd say both teams here are pretty even as far as the Big Ten West goes and moving forward in there. But yeah, Vegas prediction does have Minnesota here by a tenth of a point. Otherwise, the spread and the FPI are going towards the Iowa side. Here's your stat comparison for this game. These are through all three of the first games for both these teams. Iowa's got 29 points per game, 17 points allowed. They got 220 pass yards a game, 166 rush yards, and then for yards allowed, 213 passing, and then 102 rushing. For Minnesota on the other side, they got 36 points per game. They also have 36 points allowed per game, so they're even with the points per game and the points allowed. They've got 200 even pass yards a game, 238 rush yards. So this has been a big rushing team so far this season. And for yards allowed, 241 passing and then 239 rushing. So all around Minnesota, I mean, they're pretty even on both sides of the ball so far. Once again, allowing both 36 and also getting 36 points a game. So, I mean, all around the defense needs to be better for Minnesota if they're going to win this game. But for Iowa, they've had more low-scoring games, and that's pretty evident by their rates of points per game and points allowed. But as far as it goes on the defensive side for both these teams, Minnesota definitely has to fix up that rushing defense if they're going to be playing if they're going to want to win this game, because 239 average rush yards a game is what they've been averaging so far, and that is not something that you want to have. That is not a very good stat line that you want to have moving into a very important game like this is for Minnesota. And looking at it for Iowa, though, I mean, Iowa hasn't had too bad of a start as far as yardage goes. I mean, they've averaged right around, I'd say, 400 yards a game, which, I mean, that's pretty good. So for Iowa, I mean, I would not count them out a single bit just yet. Here's some key points for this one. Both teams had huge wins last week, obviously, which is huge for both these teams. Obviously, if any of these teams were to start 0-3, especially in a short season like this is, I mean, that would have been absolutely just a nightmare for both these teams, because, I mean, starting 0-3 obviously is not somewhere that you want to be. But yeah, winner of this game is still, I mean, they still have potential to win the West, I would say. I mean, the West is wide open right now. You got Northwestern at the top, I think. I mean, Purdue is still undefeated. Watch out for them. I mean, I win Minnesota as well. I mean, both these teams, I think, especially the winner of this one, still has a chance to go out and win the division. But they'll definitely have to win out, I would say. I mean, Wisconsin's looking pretty good right now, especially if Wisconsin can stay eligible, and if they can avoid that one rule that says if you miss 3 games in the Big Ten, that you're disqualified for the Big Ten championship. If they can avoid that, Wisconsin should be a heavy favorite there. But I mean, winner of this game, I think, still has potential to win that division. I mean, it's wide open for anyone. But Minnesota, I would say, does have more talent here. You got Tanner Morgan at quarterback, who, I mean, last season, once again, Tanner Morgan was a huge surprise quarterback. He had a great season. All around, Minnesota looked great last year, and they've returned a ton of talent from that 2019 season. And it's been kind of surprising to me seeing Minnesota not being as successful as I thought they'd be. I mean, once again, with all the talent that they had last season, returning most of that into this year, it's been a little bit surprising seeing Minnesota struggle like they have been. But Iowa, I would say Iowa's been playing better so far. I mean, they've had a lot closer games, and I mean, of course, they had that huge blowout win over Michigan State last week, which, let me remind you, Michigan State did beat Michigan in the second week of the Big Ten being back. So Iowa definitely does have some momentum there. But moving forward, here are my predictions for this matchup. I've actually got Minnesota taking the win here, and so I'm going to be going against the spread and the FPI prediction. I've got the Gophers getting the win here, but it could easily go either way. And so I would not make, like, if you're in betting, I would not bet on this game a single bit, because this is going to be a close one. I think Iowa leads it at halftime 14-10, but we do see a higher scoring second half, and I think Minnesota is going to end up winning this one by a touchdown. 31-24 is my current score prediction for this matchup here, but your probability is only going to be 55% towards the Gophers. I do not expect this game to be a blowout at all by any of these teams. I think we're going to see a very close matchup between both these teams, because once again, I'd say both these teams are pretty even as far as talent goes. And Iowa on one side, I mean, I could really see Iowa winning this matchup. It would not surprise me a single bit if someone told me that Iowa was going to win here, because, I mean, both teams, once again, are really even right now. Like, we saw how close the Vegas prediction is right now. It's within 1/10 of a point. So, yeah, this is going to be a very close matchup. I've just got Minnesota getting the win here, though. I think Minnesota just has more talent in the end. They've got more potential. And I think if both teams perform to their highest level, I think Minnesota's limit is a little bit higher. So I've got the Gophers winning this one by a final score of 31-24. But do let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup. Let me know your score predictions, all of that down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this matchup. But then again, thanks again for watching. Should be a fun one here. But once again, if you enjoyed this video, slap a like on it and subscribe as well. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all later.